Oh, Bob, thank you for inviting me to this party and having such a great time.
Oh, thank you so much, Lucy. I'm so glad you could come to our Cratchit family celebration this Christmas.
Bob.
Fred!
How are you doing?
Good. It's so good to see you.
Oh, it is so good to see you. I just love your tiny, cozy, yeah.
Well, it's quaint.
Yes, it
it's
is.
where we live. You know,
Yes.
we can only afford so much thanks to your uncle.
Yes, my uncle absolutely adores you.
Yes.
You know, you work so hard.
Oh, I try.
For so little, and we just love you for that. You're just a very tidy person.
Yes, well, thank you. Well, we have a fabulous dinner. We do, Lucy, have a fabulous dinner. We have, well, it's not turkey, because we couldn't afford the turkey, but I hear we have a bird. It's a nice little bird. Tiny Tim found it in the backyard, and we cooked it right away. But it's actually not the whole bird. It's more of a wing. But I hope you like wings. And of course, we also have a figgy pudding that we froze from last Christmas, and
Yeah.
I hope you're okay with that. And
That's nice, Bob.
we have crocodile. I hope you like crocodile, with a little bit of giraffe on the side,
Yeah.
with a platypus. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, don't forget to top it off with a little bit of, you know, some battery acid.
Sounds nice. Yeah.
Oh, what?
Oh.
What are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm doing well, thank you. I thought we established that already.
Oh.
What?
Oh, this is really. Oh.
What?
Well, Bob, it was so nice to be here in your tiny house. Yeah. I have to go.
Oh, what?
So,
Oh.
it was so
What?
great to see you.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Oh, what? You fixed your car?
Disney World.
Disney World?
Who?
Yes.
Y'all are going to Disney World?
Who's going to? I'm not going to
I
Disney.
can't believe it.
Fred's not going to.
Who? You gotta invite me.
What? Who's inviting who? What? Where? Oh. Well, Merry Christmas. I guess it will just be me and my new cell phone. Ha! Oh, look at that. Mr. Scrooge has a big turkey. Ha. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag hallelujah. Hashtag my heart has changed. Hashtag my employee doesn't know about the party, so shh. Merry Christmas.
It's time to have some fun. Oh, Light Talk with Sam Beman. We got skits and interviews. We got everything but the blues. It's on. Light Talk is on. Light Talk with Sam Beman.
Hey guys, I'm Sam Beman and you're watching Light Talk. Now I know it's probably been some time for many of you. It's been a little while for myself. In fact, I used to do this show many years ago, back in 2008, and it actually ran up until 2014. But as many of you probably know, I went through a battle with Hodgkin's disease lymphoma stage 4 and 6 months of chemotherapy. But over the past few years, I've still been entertaining. I've still been doing comedy, which, of course, you've probably seen some of my clean comedy shows. But I wanted to let you know that it's good to be back. In fact, we're doing a Christmas episode, so I hope that you enjoy this. We've got Jerry Ludy on the show. We've got some fun skits, and I hope that you're just ready to laugh and enjoy this Christmas special. In fact, in the past couple of years, I've put together a ta-da! Best of Light Talk DVD. In fact, this is it's called Comedy from Beginning to End, and it has a number of skit cameos. I was trying to think of what I wanted to say, but cameos from people like Stephen Kendrick. You've probably seen some of the Kendrick brother films like War Room, Facing the Giants, Courageous, but also just some of the many great actors that have been on this show over the years at CTV Beam, as well as when I produced, as many of you probably know, produced Light Talk in my own garage. Yes, my own garage. And it was so much fun. I just liked the fact that some of you wrote me and said, hey, I love the set. where did you get that from? And I was like, well, I just never put any insulation up on the walls. Yes. So it was just bare wood. And let me tell you, when I would record those, sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. When I would record those episodes in the winter, believe me, I felt it. And the ones that I did in the summer, let's just say I lost 10 pounds because I sweated all off. All right, well, I'd like for you to go ahead and take a look at the trailer for the Like Talk Best Of DVD. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'll be back in just a moment.
You go tell him that Captain Jack Sparrow will be waiting at his boat.
Where does it lead?
The name's Ralph. I come from a galaxy far, far away.
Go back to the Hotel Transylvania.
Hey, thank you guys. You really know how to knock them dead.
Snap, is that right?
Calm down. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
But no, sorry, I didn't mean to stab you in the foot.
Calm down. Take a breath and eat the ho-ho.
Pinch yourself. You're not dreaming.
I would like to thank the Academy. It was a cockroach in my mouth.
Thank you, sweetie, for waiting.
This guy here is a little suspect, but we like him.
You just walked in.
What kind of heart change did you have?
I've been laughing at you since you started praying.
You got that, but he didn't get it. All right. Well, that was pretty fun. See.
When it's Christmas time, we don't play Raider games. Don't drink eggnog or eat candy canes. Sweet banana, banana pudding. Sweet banana, banana pudding. Sweet banana, banana pudding. Sweet banana, banana pudding. Banana pudding. Yeah, it's good. Sweet banana, banana pudding. Sweet banana, banana pudding. Sweet banana, pudding. Sweet banana, pudding. Yeah, it's good. Sweet banana, pudding. Sweet banana, pudding. I like it. It's good. Yeah. That's what we do at Christmas time in my house.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Sam Beman, and I've got a special guest with me today. Here is Jerry Luty. Jerry, how you doing?
Thanks, Sam, for inviting me.
Now, I know that most of you out there are probably like, wait a minute, I know that name. For those of you watching by internet, you may not know who this is just yet. So, Jerry, tell us a little bit about the Luty House. Is that what they call it? They call it the Luty House?
It's called many things, and the Hike Spectacular, the Luty House, or just the Luties, period.
The Luties, okay.
The name Luties is kind of odd anyway, but it's well known sometimes in the community or close by our house and throughout the Columbus area, I guess.
And this is a house that, actually it's a collection of houses that is like a light show extravaganza at Christmas time. But Jerry, I want you to tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Okay.
Just what was the fascination with lights? Where did it all begin for you?
Well, I'll start off with one big question that everybody asks me to start with.
Okay, all right.
How much is my power bill?
Yeah, how much is your power bill? It's got to be through.
Well, since technology has changed a lot, it's reduced a lot, but we won't get into.
Is it like
power
The Simpsons where they have to shut down, like they have to put it in overdrive just to start it back up, or the Christmas Vacation
right,
movie?
Get the nuclear power.
Yes,
going
the
on.
nuclear power.
Now, I started out young. When I was young, one of the things that really excited me was Mom and Dad would take me to look at lights at other houses, and there were very few back then. There was one house that stood out, you know. It only had maybe 200 lights on it, but back then, when you're a small child, it just looks amazing, you know.
Yeah.
So my mother gave me one set of lights, the old C9 lights. It may have had 10 lights on the string, but give that to me to use. And I was probably 10 or 12, I don't know, but I put it out there in the yard. And I built the first display was actually a Santa made out of a grocery bag filled with newspaper with a Santa face on it, and then I put the lights around it and stuck it out in the yard. The next thing I know, the neighbors started saying, "Oh, that's so pretty, that's so pretty." And then my mother encouraged me, and it just escalated from there. For every year, I started to add more lights, and Mom would buy me some. Then when my wife and I got married, Edith, back 45 years ago, she loved lights, and she loved decoration, and she did a lot of interior decorating with a lot of houses inside. So she keeps the inside, I keep the outside.
Okay.
And so from that point on, and then we started having children, I continued to add more lights, and then my children started getting involved with it. So
I was going to say, the kids probably love this.
oh yeah, it's the family tradition for us. It's that's part of the culture. If you're a Ludi,
Oh,
you're
okay.
into the lights.
Yeah, and you've invited the community into this tradition, but
Yes.
you've also teamed up with an organization as well.
Yes, I have. When I first started decorating the house that I'm in currently right now, about 22 years ago, the neighbor next to me was very interested in looking at it, and I started running out of room, Sam. I build these things.
There's only so many places you can go.
I build these things, and I didn't want it to look too tacky, so I asked my neighbor, could I, use your yard? Oh yeah, go ahead and use it. Before you know it, I'm decorating his yard, and then I'm decorating one. Now, this year, be my house plus 4 houses, so we're excited about that. But back to the organization you're talking about.
Yes.
Years ago, we've had a lot of people want to donate because they think my power bill is so high, and we don't do it for the power. We don't do it for the money, and we always turn that money down from the people in the community. But why?
And that says a lot about you too.
Well,
because
no,
you
it's
could
just.
have. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people that probably like, yeah, you can make that out to Jerry Ludi.
Now, if there's any investors out there wanting to contribute, I'll be glad to, send a hand out. No, but my wife and I discussed it, and we looked at the opportunities to help other people, that people want to help us. They want to feel involved because it's something great.
Yeah.
They get that warm family feeling when they're out there looking at the lights, and they just want to give. So we give them an opportunity to do that. We joined with hands with Make-A-Wish Foundation, Make-A-Wish Georgia, and about 9 years ago, and it has really been a great relationship. The first year we didn't know how much we were going to raise. We raised about $1,800. We were just amazed. Last year alone, just last year, we raised over $21,000 for Make-A-Wish, right here in the local community area. So
that is amazing. People want to give. They want to
Yes.
give to something that they believe in, and Make-A-Wish is definitely a great organization, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And also, you, aside from Make-A-Wish, you were featured on a national TV show.
Yes, when this syndicate come out years ago from national TV, it was premiered, and at the end of the show it said, if you know of any person that you would like to vote for or nominate to come on the show, then please turn those names into us and write into the email. So I got a call from a producer out in Los Angeles the next year, and I was unaware. It said, "You've been nominated, and would you be interested?" And I said, well, the first time I talked to him, I said, no, I don't do it for that. I don't do it for that type of recognition. And I said, I'm just not really interested. Well, we had a Christmas show that we went to Expos, and that summer, and I met that same guy that called me.
Oh, okay.
So they were out there doing some filming, and so he talked me into it. I said, I'll tell you what, put me on standby, so if anybody drops out, I'll be glad to step in.
Okay.
Well, we already started decorating 2 weeks into it in August, and then I got a call. Said, we had a family dropout, so we would like to invite you to come on board. So it started out, it was a great experience for us. It gives a lot of exposure for the community, and really, you're talking about being involved, the community really come together. They wanted to be involved in that because they felt part of it.
And you have a clip from this experience, right?
I sure do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and we'll take a look at that clip real quick, and we'll be back in just a moment. That was pretty impressive. That beard was pretty impressive. Oh man, that's a lot of work.
I had to shave that off.
That's a lot of work with the beard, but it's also a lot of work with, I mean, the lights and everything that goes into it. I mean, what an amazing experience.
It has been. I guess one of the most amazing thing is meeting the families that come out. They really love it. It's become such a family tradition. We've seen children come out 15 years ago, and now they're almost adults, you know, and you see, it's remarkable to see how people just come together. People that we've got neighbors that never talk to each other. That's all they do now. They talk about it. Our neighborhood, our subdivision comes together because they look forward to this every year because they know what it brings to them and also brings to the families that come out. So it's an exciting thing.
I'm definitely looking forward to coming back out, and I hope you are as well. If you're watching the show right now, Jerry, would you tell them where they can go to see this light show extravaganza?
Very simple. If you live on Macon Road, just come out Macon Road until you get to the one of the Cablevision locations. Just take a left there across from the Industrial Park, and you'll be right there at Broadmoor. Just turn in there and follow the road. You just follow the crowd, basically. Or if you're coming down Flat Rock, just go right past Whisperwood Apartments, and we're in the subdivision Cottonwood Plantation. Turn in. I got signs out there on the road that shows you how to get there.
Lots of signs, and they can tune in on the radio when they get close.
Absolutely. When you get close, within say about 3 city blocks, just turn your radio to 90.1, and you'll hear the program going on your radio. So, and also when you approach the display, take a look and see if you see a little surprise. Last year, I introduced something last year that somebody was really just really marveled over when they seen it. We got the only ski lift for teddy bears in Columbus or in the Southeast.
I saw it. I noticed going overhead. I was like, that's the most amazing thing. What is going to be in the Ludi Light Show Extravaganza next year?
Well, we try to leave that up to Santa.
Yeah,
he only knows.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you, Jerry. I really appreciate it so much.
Thanks, Sam, for inviting me.
And thank you for watching. We're going to take a break here, but we'll be back in just a moment.
So I love Christmas, but you know my mom, she loves Christmas as well. She loves having myself and my 2 brothers to come and have Christmas at her house and to read us the Christmas story and the story of Jesus. Usually they don't get to the story of Jesus because they're usually out asleep by the time that she gets through with the first book. But then the next morning, she wants us to do that thing, and maybe you guys have done this before, where you put your hand on the shoulder of the person in front of you, and they walk you into the, does anybody ever do that? Like walk you into the room, all the kids? Okay, it's just my mom. Okay, great. That's great. Okay, this is just a Beman thing. Okay. So she would make us line up like a little train, and we would go into the living room, and she would not want us to open our eyes, and she would have the camera going, and then record our reactions when we got to see all of the presents. And I think that's totally understandable for a bunch of 30-year-old guys. I do. I mean, it teaches you discipline. And maturity, hello.
Hi, I'm going to be reading to you How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and I may even bring along one of my favorite characters. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings,
he snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming,
I must stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early and rush for their toys. Then, oh the noise, noise. That's one thing he hated.
The noise. Hate it.
Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. They would feast on Who pudding, and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least.
It's not my favorite. I'm trying to watch my weight. That's all I'm saying.
And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing.
Fa hoo do re da hoo do re, welcome, Christmas time is here.
It wasn't exactly a top 10 hit, I'll just say that.
They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked,
what a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I'll look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said,
if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max, then took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said,
"Giddy up!"
and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square,
this is stop number 1,
the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings,
he grinned,
are the first thing to go.
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney.
I had to be resourceful.
Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash.
I just love that stuff. It's kind of like roast beef hash, except for it's got a little Who thing to it. I think it's quite tasty.
Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now,
grinned the Grinch,
I will stuff up the tree.
And the Grinch grabbed the tree, and he started to shove, when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was no more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick.
Why, my sweet little tot,
the fake Santa Claus lied,
there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it back to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse.
Look, that mouse could have eaten that crumb. That's all I'm saying.
Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled.
Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the trappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings, the clappings.
3,000 foot up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it.
Hoo-hoo to the Who's,
he was grinchishly humming.
They're finding out now. No Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a moment or two. Then all the Who's down in Whoville will cry, boo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Ah. That's a noise,
grinned the Grinch,
that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something that he had not before.
Maybe Christmas,
he thought,
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
And then what happened? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food and the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
I have a question. Does the talent get to cool off, maybe get some snow or something in here? Somebody call Elsa! Let's get something frozen in here! I'm burning up! Merry Christmas from the Grinch! be sure to check out Sam Beman at www.sambeman.com. I'm melting! What a world! What a world! Yeah!
It has been a fun episode. I really hate to land this plane, but we've got to bring it to a close. Little Chef. Yeah. Hey, Little Chef. It's still not your show. Thank you again for watching this edition of Light Talk. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Be sure to check us out on Light Talk with Sam Beman on Facebook, or you can visit my website at www.sambeman.com. Be sure to write me. I'd love to hear from you. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to read a letter over the air. We're going to end this program with Vegan Llama's version of You're a Mean One, and be sure to check out their videos online. Thank you, take care, and God bless.
Banana with a greasy black pea. What thou one, Mr. Grinch? Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. You're a nasty, wasty skunk. Your heart is full of unwashed socks. Your soul is full of gunk, Mr. Grinch. The three words that best describe you are as follows, and I quote: stink, stank, stunk! You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch. You've got termites in your smile. You have all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. Given the choice between you, I'd take the seasick crocodile. Your soul is an appalling dump heap, overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of deplorable rubbish imaginable, mangled up in tangled up knots. A 3-decker sauerkraut and toadstool sandwich. With arsenic sauce!
It's time to have some fun. Oh, Light Talk with Sam Beman. We got skits and interviews. We got everything but the blues. It's on. Light Talk is on. Light Talk with Sam Beman.